Yo, Big Kish back up in here. Y'all are not gonna believe what I just found, man. I'm scrolling, I'm watching the Geek About It channel. He just did a think piece about Kendrick Lamar and how him and Denzel Washington lives are parallel. He is cooking in this video, y'all. He's saying some things that I've never heard before about the streets and about their upbringing. And y'all are in for a ride. I promise you. Y'all know I'm like holding y'all. Without further ado, let's get it.
In many ways, Kendrick Lamar is the second coming of Denzel Washington. They come from different mediums, different generations, yet the parallels between them are so striking that they feel almost cosmic. Both men were shaped by environments where chaos lived just outside their front doors.
I grew up in New York, and I grew up with a pretty rough crowd. Most of my friends from that time are dead or in prison. And
when I was 13 years old, I sold dope, sold reefer. I was shooting dope at 13 years old. I ain't no killer, but I grew up with killers. I've seen people killed. I was with a couple of them the night they got killed.
But he had something his friends didn't.
I did talk about my three closest friends, and they did, 15 to 25, one did 28. I was the only one of the three that had a father in my life.
Kendrick's youth was eerily similar.
Hold on, listen, bro. For those that already know Kendrick upbringing, for those that already seen the documentaries, seen the interviews and all of that, you already know where he going with this. You already know. You already able to draw the parallels right then and there from what Denzel just said. I didn't even know that Denzel went through this type of stuff. I had no clue.
To Denzel's.
I was out there with in the streets with the homies. I mean, you growing up with them, you're gonna hang with them, and you're gonna get into shit at the end of the day.
My partner talking to me, speaking on the story how I was there, when his brother passed, and I got to watch him take his last breath.
And again, like Denzel, he was the only one in his circle with a present father.
I was probably the only one in America with an actual active father in his life, or at least in Compton. What they didn't have, what I had, was somebody to say, all right, you bumped your head, now see what happened? You in back of a police car. See what happened? You at the station. Nobody was telling them that, so they'll keep doing it over and over again.
Facts.
Kendrick, like Denzel, survived because his parents gave him guidance when he most needed it.
And my mother decided it was best to get me out of there before I ended up where a lot of my friends are now.
Denzel's father was a practical, simple man. All he wanted was for his son to get a secure job and earn a steady paycheck.
Now you get your book learning so you can work your way up at the A&P and learn how to fix cars or build houses. You get your trade. This way you got something can't nobody take away from you.
He had the same conversation with me. He could get me on at the water department. He said, I could be a supervisor in 25 years.
His mother was the dreamer.
So that was the movie Fences. I never knew that he drew the inspiration from his pops. That is dope, bro. This is the importance of having a father in your life. I'm telling you. If anybody tell you any different, that only one parent can take care of a child, bro, that is BS. Shut it down ASAP. This shows you that the importance of a father, and look where you could come from. You could be that rose that grew from the concrete. R.I.P. Tupac.
She encouraged his creative side and supported his decision to go to acting school, even when it seemed risky.
My mother could see further, no, he's got to get an education, he's got to go to college, and, he couldn't see that far.
Having the idea of my father being, just a complete realist, just in the streets, and my mother having this idea of being a dreamer, that was implanted in me first. That's just DNA, of who I am.
His father was a realist who pushed him towards responsibility and work. He struggled to understand why success in music wasn't happening fast enough. But like Denzel, he had a mother who believed deeply in his potential. That balance of discipline and belief became the foundation for the artist they would become.
You already know what I'm going to tell you. You got the gift.
The moment that truly set them on their paths came from almost spiritual encounters with older women who were almost like angels.
I was in my mother's beauty shop, and I was looking in the mirror, and I saw a woman sitting across the room from me.
Every time I looked up, she was looking at me, just looking me in the eye. March 27, 1975, she said, "Boy, you are gonna travel the world and speak to millions of people."
This woman's words were so powerful that he carried the piece of paper she gave him for years afterwards.
And we already just seen the footage of Kendrick Lamar speaking to the colleges out there in Compton. We just saw that within the last year.
It's the God's honest truth. I got the piece of paper, and I keep it with me all the time.
The woman I tell you about, the prophecy, that was 30 years, that will be 30 years ago next week.
Kendrick had his moment during one of the darkest nights of his youth.
My homeboy had just got killed, and I remember us just walking to the store. Older woman, she had asked us, well, she's like, "You believe in God?" We was like, "Yeah." You know, and at that moment, she said, "Let's pray over us." And she said, "If you accept Jesus in your heart right now, then you will enter the kingdom of heaven."
That encounter stayed with him for years and became the prayer that opens his album Good Kid, Mad City. It was the moment he decided to step away from the streets and focus on the one thing he knew he was truly gifted at.
That moment, it let me know, like, man, I gotta do something else. Or else I'm gonna be the homie down the block.
I don't think if I ever found light through music, which was something positive, I probably ended up just like, the people I grew up with.
Once they decided to take their gifts seriously, the transformation was immediate. Almost instantly, they knew they wanted to be the greatest at what they do.
As a college junior in his first acting class, Denzel boldly told his classmates that he wanted to be the best actor in the world.
You know, and everybody kind of turned around and, you want to do what? You want to be what?
This is what happens when a boy have a man to look up to. He patterns himself behind that man. And through perseverance, he never give up. Even with that, a boy having a male figure in his life versus the neighborhood boys who don't have that male figure, that boy who had that male figure in his life will go amongst the other young males and become a leader. He would then influence them to do better. Telling you, man, it's powerful.
It was kind of naive thing to say, but that's how I felt. I said, well, I'm going to do acting. I just want to be the best.
I don't know what era everybody else come from, but when I listened, man, and when I heard these artists say they're the best coming up, I said, I'm not doing it to have a good song or one good rap. To do it every time, you have to challenge yourself and you have to confirm to yourself that you're the best, period.
Denzel became known for his method-like approach to acting. He doesn't play characters, he becomes them. For Malcolm X, he lived like him for a whole year.
Denzel told me, I want to be in a place where the spirit of Malcolm coming to me, because you have to, that doesn't happen automatically. Yeah, he worked for a year for that.
I have to learn how to speak Arabic, I have to learn how to read the Quran. He became a student of Malcolm. It's more than just us dyeing his hair red or putting on the glasses or the voice.
Depending on the character he takes on, he prepares by studying the emotional core of the character, focusing on who the person is on the inside rather than just copying their behavior.
It starts from the inside out. And it's not like, oh, let me create this look and then that'll help me. I know he's a bit awkward, doesn't have any relationships, lonely. Why? I kept saying, why? What's wrong? And why? And you start to build the character.
Sometimes he performs actions on camera he can't explain himself because they weren't conscious choices that were born out of technique. They came from actually inhabiting a character's spirit.
And when we shot that scene, King Kong, that was him. That was all him.
I'm the man up in this piece. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
That's crazy that he said King Kong, and that clip was filmed in the jungles. That's I never put that together. That is crazy right there.
Came over with the line. He came over to me afterwards and said, I don't even know where that came from. In fact, I got one take of that.
I'm gonna call cut, but he keeps going. And he kept going for another 5 minutes. And the stuff that he said was better than Malcolm's words. The Denzel, that was great. But where did that come from? I mean, just...
Kendrick approaches music the same way. Long before he steps into the studio, he's already imagined the emotions the album will be built on.
It started from just a whole bunch of premeditated thoughts. The process of me thinking about the ideas and what I want to say next.
It's something I thought about for a long time before I even got in the studio. What I wanted to do, what I wanted to sound like, what message I wanted to get across into it.
First,
I was saying that when he smashed Drake in them battles, I was like, yo, he just put everything onto paper, everything that he was thinking about. So that's how it was easy for him to come up with them 5 records in such a small amount of time like that, in them 17 days, you know? Also, I thought he was about to go into the character that Kendrick Lamar played in the episode of Power when he played that crackhead. He killed that part, bro. You would have thought they call him Denzel. Like, yo, you would have thought he was already an actor. But when you listen to Kendrick Lamar say, he said he knew somebody, he knew who that person was. He was acting like somebody from his neighborhood. That's the inspiration that he got from that character that he played in that Power episode.
And thinks deeply about what he wants to say and what emotions he needs to bring out of himself to say it honestly.
And in order to make the next project, it's going to take a whole lot of preparation.
For me, it's so much of a spiritual process in making the album. I gotta really feel connected to the music. I gotta feel connected to what I'm talking about. And that can drain you, know, because you're pulling all these different emotions out.
And then in the studio, he fully becomes that virgin, switching voices and emotions like an actor in a role.
I've always been heavy on vocal tone, and you manipulate your voice, because different tones for me just gives off different expressions.
It is his version of method acting applied to sound. He doesn't just make songs, he builds entire worlds for his projects. Their intensity on set and in the studio is legendary.
He then at one point went into the studio booth.
Yeah, bruh. I can't even spoil it for y'all, man. I already know Geek about to go all the way in with it. You see how the music just switched up. You see that mood done changed. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Y'all tap in, bro. I've been rocking with Geek About It. This channel is amazing. One of the best YouTube channels. I love it, bro. His storytelling is immaculate. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Big Kish signing out. Gone, y'all.